Welcome to the online lecture of Computer Integrated Manufacturing in Automobile Industry. I am Milan Trivedi, Assistant Professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to learn about the programmable logic circuit. Normally it is been called as a PLCs, right? Why we are learning this PLC concept in computer integrated manufacturing? Because we are talking about complete automation in the manufacturing side, right? And this is easily possible with the help of PLCs, right? Because we can put some logic on that, we can have a control with the help of this PLCs. Now this PLC has been invented by the Dick Morley. The first PLC was appeared like that box type of arrangement. But let us understand why this PLCs are used and where it is useful, right? The best example if I want to give is, say for example, there is one room in which we are keeping this particular PLCs, right? We are having this heater which is required to get started, right? So what we can do is we can keep some temperature sensor in the room, and we can program with the help of this programmable logic circuits that whenever this temperature of the room reaches, say for example 8 degree, the heater gets starts automatically. This kind of logic if you want to put, then you can use the particular PLC, right? So it will take the input data from the different sensors, and based on that particular data it will try to operate the particular machineries, right? So the simplest way of the PLC is that the typical PLC, this is just a particular block diagram, but typical PLC appears like this, right? But PLCs are very accurate as compared to some other automation parts. So in very precise industry, we are using this PLCs, which is used for this automation. Now let us understand the architecture of particular PLC. If we look towards the architecture of PLC, we are having this number of components. We are having a central processing unit which is having the memory in which you can program. The best example which I had given right now itself. Say for example, we are programmed that whenever the temperature reaches 8 degree, the heater gets starts automatically. There are a number of things you can program whenever you need to go for automation, right? You need to supply power to that, and there will be some input module as well as output module. Input module is a sensing devices. The sensor will sense the data, and as per that receiving data, and as per the program it will try to operate the output devices, which may be a bulb, which may be this heater, which may be a cooling system, which may be a heating system. These are the things which may be operated, right? Even these are the things which we see in the case of lift even, right? After some time durations the lift door gets shuts automatically, right? So these are the programmable things. Now, commonly used input devices are the limit switches, just a switch type of appearance. Then the timer devices, limit switch is just a push button type of thing, right? Once it's get pressed, the another component get operated. Then you can have a timer. Nowadays, that is available in our air conditioning system, even in our washing machines, right? You can set the timer. After that time durations, the machine gets starts, right? You can have a photoelectric switches, you can have a rotary encoders or the proximity switches. Just these are the things which is acting as the input devices. Proximity switches we are using in the rear parking, so that any obstacles come in between, it indicates as an alarm, right, in our car. Now as per the sensing devices, we need to operate something. So the things which is getting operated, that is our output devices. So output devices may be a motor, a heater, lamp, starter motor, LED displays, or a solenoid motor. These are the things which is required to be operated. Now talking about the particular switch itself, we are having a number of different varieties. The first one is a normally open close switch, right? The switch we are also using in our rooms, that is a normal open close switch. Once you press that, the circuit gets completed and you can light up the lamp, and once you open that, the lamp wouldn't get start, right? So that's a normal open close switch. If we need to understand the particular symbolic representation. The normally open switch diagram has been represented this, and normally closed is symbolically represented as this particular diagram. Then we can have a single pole, single throw switch, right? So we are having only single pole, single throw. Basically, the switch appears like this. We all have used this kind of switch. This switch is called as a single pole, single throw switch. When you are press, it will light up the lamp, and from that button only you can light off that bulb also. So that is single pole, single throw. Then you can have a single pole, double throw. From one of switch only you can operate the two different bulbs. You can have the two different connections. Suppose you want to operate this, then it will light this particular bulb. Then if you want to operate another bulb, then it will just operate the another bulb. So that is a single pole double throw switch. Another one is a double pole single throw switch. So in this case, as you see over here, you are just pressing one power supply button. So but what will happen is, once you press that, it will use to light up the lamp also, and it will operate the motor also. So only pressing one button, two different devices are being operated. So that is a double pole single throw switch. Another one is a double pole double throw switch. Two switches you need to operate, but according to that, it will run the two different things, right? So that is a double pole double throw switch. Another one is a push button. Just when in doorbells we are using this kind of push button switches, right? Once you press, it will complete up the circuit and it will start the different device. The another one we need to understand is a relay. Relay is normally being used whenever we need to put some logic in between, or you need to have a synchronization of activities, right? The simplest example if I want to give is, say for example, if I am doing machining in a lathe machine, right? But I need to have the coolant line automatically gets on whenever I start the spindle, right? Once the spindle is started, it need to start the coolant line as well as lubrication line. Then we can use this kind of relays, right? So the particular setup appears like this. If you press the relay button, it will lamp up this particular lamp, as well as it will try to supply the current to the another circuit, which is actually battery connected, and so switch is been pressed. If here load has been connected, that also will be get operated and lamp will also rise, right? So there is synchronization of activities which is possible with the help of relays. Now these are the nomenclature which we had already discussed, but these switches are actually acting as input devices to the PLCs, right? Just a diagrammatical representation. The concept we had already understand, right? Now the entire relays are being or the particular PLCs arrangement are being shown with the help of ladder logics, right? In which the input and output devices are being shown, rails are being there, in between we are having rungs. On the rungs we can you particular show this switches as input and output devices. So whatever activities you want to do, that can be diagrammatically or symbolically shown with the help of this ladder logic diagram, right? That's the purpose of particular ladder logic diagram. Okay, that's all about PLC topic in our curriculum. That's all. Thanks.